In this Caddie tutorial we're going to take a look at creating layout sheets for printing based on views or viewports of our model that we introduce onto the layout sheets. So we have our layout sheets of the size that we want with title blocks and any notes that we want, and into those sheets we let in windows or create viewports. So through those windows we actually look at our model and see it at scale, at a scale of our choosing, and this can be any size we like. It can be just a small part of the drawing or the full thing, depending on what we're trying to achieve. So let's take a look at our model and how we're going to display that using the viewports onto our layout sheets. Viewports. Here we're using sheet 1. That's an A1 sheet of drawing paper, ISO A1, which is 841 by 594. So there we are, and we'll select set sheet. We can see in there that we've defined the printer that we're going to use. Important to define the printer first, because the size of a sheet that we're going to print on is derived directly from the driver for our printer. So we'll choose our sheet size, so in this case A1. We've got the sheet name, so that's shown here, sheet 1, so we can change that to be anything we like. We've got millimeters as our chosen units, and we're working in a landscape format. And then we've got the plot style that we're going to use, more of which later. The other thing to note here is that we're going to plot out at 1:1. So when we print out our drawing sheet, we're actually printing the sheet full size, which means that the views we place on the sheet will be the things that are scaled. So we'll OK that. We're going to create on our chosen sheet a window which is going to look onto our model. So I'll go just to the model to remind ourselves of what we have here. So we have two plans, a section and an elevation. Now, there's a variety of ways we can create this window, but probably the simplest is to go to the sheet in question and then to the new viewport tool. Now the new viewport tool allows us to define the shape. So we've got rectangular, user defined, so polygonal, we've got circular, we've got elliptical. We can choose whether we want it landscape or portrait. We have the ability to pick an area on the drawing, or we can choose from a number of presets, including a custom one down at the bottom. A2 will do fine for what we have here, and we'll choose the scale. So remembering that we're printing our sheet out full size, so we need to scale the view when we place it onto our drawing sheet. So I'll OK that, and there we see the A2 box, the A2 size box. We'll just place that on our drawing sheet, and we can see now that we have a window looking onto our model which is scaled at 1:50. So that view, when we print it out, will be 1:50. Now the slight problem we have here is that not all of our drawing fits onto or into the window, and that's because when we place a viewport down in this way, it creates the viewport based on the extent of our drawing. So we've got an A2 size and it won't quite fit onto our into our window, but we can select the viewport and we'll notice that we get the grips at the edges and the one at the center, which allows us to move it around. There are discrete tools within the sheets tools here for moving and resizing viewports, but with the grips we can literally just pick the corner, move it around and redistribute our model based on what we want to see. And what we see through our viewport is actually a live representation of our model as it stands at the time of viewing. So if we were to go back to our model here and simply with the scope flags switch off the hatching, back on our sheet we'll see that the hatching has disappeared, and similarly if we were to draw anything else, that would appear on the viewport as well. So back to our model, we can switch the hatching back on, go back to our sheet, and we see the hatching has returned. So just to recap, we've created our drawing in the model space and then created views of that with viewports and place them onto a layout drawing sheet, and that's then ready for printing. So more about viewports and how we can create them in further tutorials.